Hello and welcome back to Man Cave Hobbies. So today's video is some of the reasons you may want to hold off on buying that DJI FPV drone. Now this morning it was launched. You've seen a lot of infomercials. I mean infomercials because they glazed over a couple things. I noticed that. I'm not the only one who noticed that they glazed over quite a bit of important information. And everybody's pushing links down below. Okay? Well, not everyone. There was actually a couple of really good reviewers out there, true reviewers, Kebab FPV and Bruce at RC Model Review. And they brought up some really good points that the other channels just completely glaze over this stuff for some reason when it comes to DJI. Could it be commission? I don't know. There must be an alternative motive here. I don't know. I almost bought the thing this morning. I almost bought this drone, and that's being honest. I called Shannon. I said, look, this is the perfect drone. It's $1,300. And this way I can teach you how to fly. And I have a video to show you. And I called her up. I made her go to YouTube and look up Drew Ladrib. He had his girlfriend flying this thing. And I thought this will be perfect. This will be a perfect trainer for her. And I was serious. I made her watch the whole thing, she goes, "Well, it's $1,300, and it's really expensive. If I do wreck it, that's one of the points. Maybe you might want to hold off on this thing." But I almost bought the damn thing, and then I watched the real reviewers, and here's some of the points. Number one, Geofence. I'm not the only one that made comments in comment sections. Hey, this is the only video I've ever heard about geofence. What is geofencing? Well, it's DJI's way of getting rid of ass hattery. You see, their drones were in the news a lot, and it was causing a problem for their image. And they were worried that government was going to step in and stop them from selling their products or come up with such crazy ass laws, because anytime government comes to the scene and says, "I'm from the government, I'm here to help you," run like hell. So they came out with the geofence because these guys were landing on stadiums, they were landing in prison yards, they were landing everywhere. They were flying in places that they should never, anybody with a little bit of common sense would have never even attempted. But not these jackasses. No. So once again, we have to live our lives by the lowest common denominator, and we all get punished. And that's what geofencing is. So what it is that they block off certain areas, like around your airport, 5-mile radius, Air Force base or military base, 5-mile radius, jail or a prison, 5-mile radius, or I think it's a mile radius on those if I remember correctly. But you also have heliports and other things of that nature. And you also have a lot of airports, especially in rural areas where I live, where they're not even an airport, they're just a grass runway. There's one over, what is it, up by Fort Benton. It's a paved runway that's all broken to crap. There's no way you're going to take a plane off. It's got cows on it, and yet that's called an airport. So you can't fly in that area unless you got a 107 license, and you can unlock that area. So that's something, if you're a beginner, you might want to pay attention to. Okay? Number two. And that was glazed over. That was glazed over. Number two, one thing that wasn't glazed over that I was absolutely surprised by was Josh Bardwell's video. He wrecked it, and he clearly showed the wreck, and he clearly showed what happened. He broke an arm. And then he told us, well, they say parts are maybe available, different parts like the arms and stuff. But for right now, you'd have to send it away. And DJI would fix it for you, or whatever the hell they do. So that's something you might want to think about. You see, in FPV drones over here, ours is carbon fiber. And if they break an arm, we just fix it ourselves. But you wouldn't be able to. Number three, the props. I brought this up. This is Bruce at RC Model Review. Thin, plastic, and $4 a piece. He didn't say they were $4 a piece. I looked it up. $4 a piece. They're proprietary. Meaning, I think they're actually patented. I really do. But they're proprietary. You can't buy them anywhere else. They're not polycarbonate like the blades we normally have. And at $4 a blade, we normally get four props for $4, right? A buck a prop. But not DJI. because it's a consumable. This is the way they make their money. Here's a big one for you. Kebab FPV. 9 minutes of actual solid FPV flying. 9 minutes of battery. Not 20, 9 minutes of battery. Okay, that's still pretty good. That's really good because this thing is 800 grams. Normally, even with a GoPro on our stuff, it's 600, 550, even 500 nowadays. Most of us are going to sub 250 class. But with a GoPro on, the whole 9 yards, you know, you're going to add a little bit of weight, but not 800 grams. That's a beast. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of inertia, which is a real problem because Josh Bardwell, like I said, I was surprised. He showed the wreck and he broke an arm. Well, yeah, 800 grams. But these batteries, for 9 minutes, $150 a piece. So if you want to fly for an hour, just do the math. $900 worth of batteries. If you want an hour's worth of flight time, roughly $900 worth of batteries. And they're proprietary. You cannot put just regular batteries in the DJI drone. And they cannot be made by any other manufacturer. It's considered a consumable. It's how they make their money. It's a smart battery. For $150 a piece. It should be. And last but not least was a video that I put up a couple days ago. Got a lot of hate by the DJI fanboy club. Oh shit, here they come. That's crazy every time they come through here. DJI is an actual religion, and their fanboys turn into jihadists if you speak anything negative about their products. And that's the fitment of this goggle. And here's the thing about this. I knew the answer. It was kind of where I was bringing up really good points about, okay, you had a V1, it didn't fit the head, but they have a new V2, and the only thing they changed was to support their new cash cow, the little drone that I'm talking about today, instead of, you know, changing some of the things that people were bitching about. Or at the very least, put in a piece of foam that you offer as an option. It's just closed cell foam that you normally use in packing, you know, like packages and stuff from Amazon. At least include that, but no, they want $17 for that. I noticed all the reviewers today was wearing that foam, okay, to block out all the light leakage and make it more comfortable on the face. But they don't. They give you this thing here, this stuff here, and I'll be honest with you, it's a real miss. It's a huge miss. It's actually painful on my head, and you know, it just doesn't work. And so I brought up, whose head shape is this? I mean, who's got a head that fits this? And nobody had the right answer. And I was actually surprised by a couple of guys I admire. But like I said, it was a fishing expedition. I was looking for trolls. I didn't realize I landed a whale. I was going to land the biggest whale there is, but I did. But nobody had the right answer. And that's kind of concerning. Okay, I'll give you the right answer. Whose head fits this? Is it Westerners? No. Is it Easterners? No. Is it Samoans? No. It's nobody. That's the correct answer. It's nobody. And let me explain. DJI wanted to make a skinnier side profile. Okay, they wanted the sexy look. They went with the fighter jet helmet look because it helped offset the overall size of the goggle. They wanted to get it thinner than a typical box goggle because they're competing against regular goggles, and they didn't want to fork over the money it takes to make real goggles as opposed to, you know, box goggles. So they had to kind of make it sexy, they had to make it different, and all these facets. It's to kind of hide the overall size of this thing. Well, one way to do that is to make it shallow. You see, instead of curved like a normal helmet. You can see the aggressive curve on this for a normal head. You can see what they did here, which is kind of a cool trick what they did here, but you can see it's much more aggressive. And what they did here at, I guess these are still available. I was surprised by that, but don't buy them. But they're still available. Just don't buy them. But what Walkera did here to make this shorter and sexier looking as opposed to just a big honking TV box off your head is they actually added a whole nother face mask back here. It never fit the head right either, but you can see that's what they did here. And they made it black, so it made, when they took pictures, the marketing pictures, it made the box and it shortened it up and it made it look smaller. Well, that's what they did here. This is not to fit anyone's head. It was simply made so that when you had reviewers and they said, look, they're not that much bigger than a standard goggle. Look, guys, this is a fat shark. I mean, look at this stuff. That's what it was about. If they actually made this curved, then they would have to bring out the sides more, here, here, and here. But even worse is that they would have to, it would change the optics inside here. I know most people don't understand how these headsets work, but it's an optic engine. There's a lot of calculations that it takes to make a set of goggles so that we're not cross-eyed, so everything's not blurry. And to give you a fine example of that, for those of you who don't understand that, open your cell phone to anything you want, to your home screen or whatever your screens are, and then bring it closer and closer to your face until it's still not blurry. Okay, so it's not blurry. The fonts are not blurry. The screen itself isn't blurry. You can play back an FPV video, one of the videos, at 1080 or 4K or whatever you want to do off YouTube, and just experiment and then measure from your eyes how far out that screen is. And imagine a box goggle that big. So what they do a lot of trickery, a lot of lenses and trickery so that you can bring it closer to the face. It's quite an engineering feat. It's not something that's easy. It's actually pretty expensive to do. But that's why this has got such a shallow, you can see how shallow it is. It's not actually made to fit anyone's head. So some of you fanboys and stuff were guessing, oh no, it's because Western heads, this is made for Eastern. No, it's not made for anyone's head. That was the correct answer. But for those of you who are not used to this, who are brand new to this hobby, these things can be painful with the stock foam. So you definitely want to get that new $17 foam, that aftermarket $17 foam by DJI, and you want to get a fat strap. That's another 17 bucks as well. Just keep throwing stuff in the cart. That's my video for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, and I'll be back again.